When you understand the principle that life and death are in the power of the tongue, you begin to see why what you say every morning matters so much. The words that come out of your mouth are not empty. They are seeds, and every seed produces after its kind. If you speak doubt, fear, and negativity, you plant seeds that produce more of the same. If you speak life, faith, and possibility, you plant seeds that bring forth growth, opportunity, and transformation. The key point is this: the power of the tongue shapes destiny, and it doesn't matter whether you believe in God, business, or just personal development. This law works universally. Your words frame your world. Think about it this way: every great achievement started as a declaration. Before a building is constructed, someone says, "We are going to build it." Before a business is launched, someone says, "This will be successful." Before a person changes their life, they say, "Enough is enough, I will transform." The spoken word precedes the manifested result. If you don't learn to speak intentionally, your future will be built on accident instead of design. That's why so many people feel stuck. They keep saying, "I can't make it, I'm broke, I never get a break, people always take advantage of me." Those words are not just complaints, they're contracts. Every time you say them, you agree with the circumstances you want to escape. When you begin to discipline your tongue and use it to declare life, you take back control of your future. You stop being a victim of what is happening and start being a co-creator of what will happen. God Himself demonstrated this principle in creation. In Genesis, He didn't think light, He spoke light. He didn't imagine the heavens, He declared them into existence. If God, who is all-powerful, chose to create by speaking, how much more do we need to create our world with our words? This is not just spiritual, it's also psychological. Words affect your subconscious mind. When you speak something repeatedly, your mind begins to align your actions with what you've declared. If you say every morning, "I'm disciplined, focused, and unstoppable," your brain looks for ways to validate that statement. You start noticing moments when you're disciplined instead of when you're lazy. You begin to live up to what you've been speaking. On the other hand, if you say, "I'm lazy, I can't get it together," your brain works to reinforce that identity even when you have opportunities to rise higher. Here's something else to understand: your words don't just affect you, they affect how others treat you. If you constantly speak weakness, people will see you as weak. If you speak strength and confidence, people respond to you differently. Your declarations set the tone for your relationships, your business, your finances, and even your health. You're either inviting blessings or blocking them with your tongue. So, when you wake up in the morning and speak those 7 lines, you're not doing something small, you're reprogramming your entire life. You're starting your day by planting seeds of faith and power instead of fear and defeat. Imagine 2 people waking up side by side. One says, "Today is going to be hard, I hate my job, I don't know how I'll make it." The other says, "Today I choose faith over fear, I am a magnet for wisdom, wealth, and favor." By noon, both people are living out the exact seeds they planted in the morning. One attracts frustration, the other attracts solutions. One notices problems, the other notices opportunities. The difference is not luck, it's language. The truth is, you will never rise above the level of your confession. If you want to see transformation in your finances, your relationships, your health, and your spiritual walk, you have to start speaking transformation before you see it. Don't wait for conditions to change before you change your confession. Your words are the tools that change the conditions. Faith comes by hearing, and the first person who hears your words is you. Every morning when you declare those 7 lines, you're not just talking to the air. You're talking to your mind, your spirit, and your future. So, the power of the tongue is not optional, it's essential. You are either speaking yourself into bondage or speaking yourself into breakthrough. Every time you open your mouth, you're building something, either a prison or a palace. That's why you must be intentional with your declarations. If you want to transform your life, you have to transform your language first. Faith is not automatic, it is always a choice. Every morning, you are faced with a decision that will shape how you experience your entire day. Will you operate in fear or will you walk in faith? Fear and faith are both belief systems. Fear believes in the worst possible outcome, while faith believes in the best possible outcome. Fear paralyzes, but faith mobilizes. Fear makes you shrink back, but faith empowers you to step forward. The second key point of this message is understanding that faith is a daily choice, and your decision to choose faith over fear every morning determines the trajectory of your life. Fear shows up in subtle ways. Sometimes it doesn't look like terror or panic. It looks like procrastination, hesitation, or excuses. A person may say, "I'll start that business when things calm down," or "I'll go after my dream when I feel ready." Those are just fear wearing a disguise. Fear will always try to convince you that the conditions aren't right, that you're not prepared enough, or that the risk is too big. If you allow fear to govern your choices, you'll live a life of regret, watching opportunities pass you by because you never stepped out. Faith, on the other hand, doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Faith acts because it knows that conditions shift once you move. When you declare in the morning, "Today, I choose faith over fear," you set a standard for how you will respond to challenges. You're saying in advance, "No matter what comes, I will not bow to worry. I will act in courage." Faith doesn't eliminate the presence of fear, but it eliminates the power of fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward in spite of fear. This principle is deeply spiritual but also practical. The Bible says without faith it is impossible to please God. Why? Because faith is trust. Faith says, "God, I believe you more than I believe my circumstances." When you operate in fear, you elevate your problems above God's promises. But when you operate in faith, you give God permission to move in your life. Faith positions you for miracles while fear positions you for stagnation. Think about all the people who accomplished extraordinary things. They were not fearless. They simply chose faith over fear. Every entrepreneur who launched a company without knowing if it would succeed, every leader who stepped into the unknown, every inventor who tried something that had never been done before, they felt fear, but they chose faith. If they had waited for fear to disappear, they never would have moved. Faith is what makes people extraordinary. When you choose faith daily, you program your mind to look for solutions instead of problems. A fearful person says, "What if it fails?" A faithful person says, "What if it succeeds?" A fearful person says, "What if they reject me?" A faithful person says, "What if they accept me?" Faith shifts your focus from danger to opportunity, and here's the truth. Whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on fear, you magnify the problem. If you focus on faith, you magnify the possibilities. Fear limits your language, your vision, and your actions. It shrinks your potential down to the size of your comfort zone. Faith, however, expands you. It forces you to step outside the familiar and believe for more. That is why every morning declaration matters. By saying, "I choose faith over fear," you are not just motivating yourself, you are aligning your spirit with action. You are setting your internal compass to courage instead of cowardice. Now, does this mean fear disappears forever? Absolutely not. Fear will always try to return, whispering doubts into your mind. But the difference is this: when you've already decided to walk in faith, fear no longer has authority over your decisions. It may knock, but it cannot enter. It may shout, but it cannot direct. Faith makes you unshakable. Choosing faith over fear also impacts the people around you. Fear is contagious, but so is faith. When you speak faith, your family, your friends, and your colleagues feel it. You become a source of courage for others who may be struggling. Instead of spreading anxiety, you spread confidence. Instead of multiplying worry, you multiply hope. So every morning when you say, "Today I choose faith over fear," you're not saying it because fear will never come. You're saying it because you refuse to let fear dictate your life. You are making a conscious choice to align with faith, courage, and destiny. That one choice, repeated daily, will shift how you see yourself, how you act, and ultimately how your life unfolds. The words you speak are like magnets, drawing into your life the things that align with them. When you wake up in the morning and declare, "I am a magnet for wisdom, wealth, and favor," you're not just reciting a positive phrase, you're aligning yourself with attraction, positioning yourself to pull in opportunities that would otherwise pass by unnoticed. Life is full of hidden treasures, but only those who expect them, look for them, and declare them find them. The third key point is that your words attract what you desire, and your declarations prepare your mind, spirit, and actions to receive what you're calling in. Most people live their lives saying what they don't want. They say, "I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be rejected." But when you focus on what you don't want, you end up attracting more of it. Why? Because the mind does not work in negatives. If I tell you, "Don't think of a pink elephant," what happens? Immediately, you see the elephant. The subconscious mind locks onto the image, not the negation. In the same way, if all you speak is lack, rejection, and failure, your subconscious begins to build your reality around those things. But when you declare wisdom, wealth, and favor, your mind and actions align with abundance instead of lack. Wisdom is the foundation. When you say you are a magnet for wisdom, you're declaring that solutions, clarity, and insight flow to you. The difference between success and failure is often not resources but wisdom. Two people can face the same problem. One sees a dead end, the other sees an opportunity. That difference comes from wisdom. Declaring that you attract wisdom sets you up to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You begin to notice patterns, ideas, and strategies that others overlook. Wealth follows wisdom. Many people chase money but neglect wisdom, which is why they lose money when they get it. Money without wisdom is like water in a broken cup. It doesn't last. But when you declare that you are a magnet for wealth, you're not chasing money out of desperation. You're positioning yourself to attract money because you've already cultivated wisdom. Wealth doesn't just mean financial gain. It includes abundance in relationships, health, and personal growth. Wealth is the fullness of life, and it responds to declarations made in faith. Favor is the accelerant. You can have wisdom and wealth, but favor takes you further, faster. Favor means doors open for you that others can't explain. It means people choose to help you even when they don't know why. Favor gives you access to rooms you didn't qualify for on paper. When you declare that you are a magnet for favor, you are preparing your spirit to walk into divine connections and opportunities that would otherwise seem impossible. Now, understand this. Declaring that you are a magnet does not mean you sit back passively. A magnet doesn't just attract, it attracts what it is positioned toward. Your declarations are what set your position. When you say, "I am a magnet for wisdom, wealth, and favor," your spirit shifts into a position of expectation. Expectation creates awareness, and awareness leads to action. Suddenly, you'll find yourself in the right conversations, the right books, the right places. You'll notice an idea and act on it while someone else walks past it blind. You'll seize an opportunity others overlook because your words made you ready to see it. Declaring these words also removes mental resistance. Many people unconsciously push wealth and favor away because deep down they feel unworthy. They've been programmed to think money is evil or that favor only comes to others. When you declare daily that you are a magnet for wisdom, wealth, and favor, you are reprogramming your mind to accept that these things belong to you, that you are worthy of them, and that they are already on their way to you. Think of it like tuning a radio. If you tune to the wrong frequency, you'll get static. But if you tune to the right frequency, you receive a clear signal. Your declarations tune your spirit to the frequency of abundance. Opportunities, resources, and connections that seemed hidden before suddenly appear clear because you're tuned in. The truth is, everyone is already attracting something. Some are magnets for drama, negativity, and lack because that's what they constantly declare. Others are magnets for peace, success, and abundance because that's what they speak and believe. You have the power to decide which one you will be. By speaking these words daily, you are deciding that your life will attract wisdom to guide you, wealth to empower you, and favor to accelerate you. So, when you declare, "I am a magnet for wisdom, wealth, and favor," say it with conviction. You are not asking life for permission. You are commanding alignment with what belongs to you. The more you speak it, the more your reality will begin to reflect it. And once it takes root in your spirit, it won't just be words you say, it will be the life you live. When you declare, "I forgive quickly, love deeply, and give generously," you are choosing to live a life that flows instead of one that stays stuck. Unforgiveness is one of the biggest barriers to transformation. It holds you captive to the pain of yesterday, chaining your present to past experiences. Many people don't realize that bitterness doesn't hurt the person who wronged them nearly as much as it hurts themselves. Carrying unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. When you forgive quickly, you release yourself from that prison. You free your heart and mind so that blessings, opportunities, and creativity can flow into your life. Forgiveness doesn't mean the wrong never happened. It means you refuse to let the wrong have power over your future. Forgiveness is also about alignment. God forgives us freely, and He expects us to do the same. Holding on to bitterness closes the door to divine favor because it shows that we want grace for ourselves but judgment for others. The moment you say every morning, "I forgive quickly," you are deciding in advance that no matter who offends you that day, you won't carry their offense as a burden. You'll release it quickly and keep your spirit light. That one decision can save you from wasted days of anger, sleepless nights of worry, and years of bitterness that slowly eat away at joy. Loving deeply is the second part of this declaration, and it is just as powerful. We live in a world where many people love shallowly. They love with conditions, they love when it's convenient, and they love only those who agree with them. But deep love is transformational. Deep love reaches beyond circumstances. It sees value in people even when they can't see it in themselves. When you choose to love deeply, you step into God's kind of love, a love that is patient, kind, and enduring. That kind of love heals relationships, mends broken hearts, and creates unity where division once stood. Deep love is not weakness, it is strength. It takes strength to keep loving when people fail you, betray you, or misunderstand you. Shallow love runs away when it's tested. Deep love grows stronger under pressure. Every morning when you declare, "I love deeply," you are deciding to be a person who brings light into the lives of others. You're choosing to invest in relationships, to value people, and to demonstrate the kind of love that multiplies blessings in return. Then comes the third part, giving generously. Generosity is one of the most underestimated forces for transformation. The world teaches people to hold tightly to what they have, to guard it, and to fear losing it. But God's kingdom operates on a different principle. The more you give, the more you receive. Giving generously is not just about money. It's about giving time, giving encouragement, giving wisdom, and giving love. When you give generously, you open the floodgates for more to come back to you. The Bible says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." That's the law of generosity. Generosity also shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Scarcity says, "If I give, I'll have less." Abundance says, "If I give, more will come." When you declare every morning, "I give generously," you're training your mind to see yourself as a source, not just a receiver. And when you see yourself as a source, you will never run out. People who give generously are the ones who attract more opportunities, more friendships, more blessings, and more wealth. Why? Because they've shown they can be trusted to release what they have, so God keeps sending them more. These three principles, forgiveness, love, and generosity, are deeply connected. Forgiveness clears out the clutter of bitterness, love fills the heart with power, and generosity keeps the blessings flowing. Together, they create an unstoppable cycle of abundance. Imagine living every day where you release offense before it can take root. You love so deeply that people feel valued in your presence, and you give so generously that you always have more coming back to you. That is the life of transformation. That is the life God designed for you. The truth is, many people are blocked not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack forgiveness. They are not empty because they lack resources, but because they lack generosity. They are not lonely because no one cares, but because they refuse to love deeply. When you make this declaration every morning, you reprogram your spirit to live in alignment with abundance and blessing. And once you begin to live this way, you'll notice that problems don't linger as long, relationships feel richer, and life begins to overflow with peace and joy. So, when you speak those words, don't just say them as empty affirmations. Say them with conviction. Mean them, live them, forgive quickly, love deeply, give generously, and watch how your life becomes a river of blessings that never runs dry. When you speak the words, I am disciplined, focused, and unstoppable, you are not just making a casual statement, you are shaping your identity and locking into the habits that create transformation. Discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. Focus is the lens that brings clarity to your vision. And when you combine those two, you become unstoppable, because nothing in life can permanently block a person who is committed and focused on where they're going. Too many people want change, but they don't want discipline. They want results, but they don't want routines. They want success, but they aren't willing to sacrifice for it. That's why this declaration is powerful. It builds the mindset that creates consistency, and consistency produces transformation. Discipline begins with the small things. Success is not built on one massive action. It's built on small daily decisions. Waking up early when you'd rather stay in bed. Choosing to study when you'd rather scroll on your phone. Saving when you'd rather spend. Speaking life when you'd rather complain. Those small decisions don't feel like much in the moment, but they compound over time into greatness. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about alignment. It's aligning your actions with your goals instead of your feelings. When you declare, I am disciplined, you are telling yourself, my future is more important than my comfort, my destiny is greater than my distractions, focus is just as critical. Many people fail not because they don't have the ability, but because they are scattered. They are doing too many things halfway instead of doing one thing with excellence. Distraction is one of the greatest enemies of destiny. The world is designed to pull your attention in every direction: social media, entertainment, noise, gossip. But when you declare every morning, I am focused, you are deciding in advance what gets your attention and what doesn't. Focus doesn't just mean ignoring distractions. It means saying yes to your purpose so strongly that everything else loses its appeal. Focus turns dreams into plans and plans into results. Now combine discipline and focus and you get unstoppable momentum. Momentum is the force that carries you forward even when things get tough. An unstoppable person is not someone who never faces challenges. It is someone who refuses to quit when challenges arise. Life will always test your discipline and focus. There will be delays, disappointments, and difficulties. But if you've already declared that you are unstoppable, you've removed quitting from your options. You might pause, you might adjust, but you won't stop. That kind of mindset makes you undefeatable because persistence beats resistance every single time. Think about it. The most successful people in history were not the smartest or the most talented. They were simply the most disciplined, the most focused, and the most relentless. Athletes who train when others rest, entrepreneurs who build when others complain, leaders who stay committed when others give up. That's what makes them unstoppable, and the same can be true for you, but it starts with your declarations. You don't wait until you feel disciplined to say you're disciplined. You say it until you feel it, and then you say it until it becomes second nature. This principle is both spiritual and practical. Spiritually,